ancestors that lived in this area, Narragansett, and even the tribes nearby, relied off the water, especially the coast and all the rivers that ran to the ocean. The idea is to have a fishing camp, functional fishing camp for the river that we have nearby, and we want to make nets, we want to have basket traps for fishing, we want to have working on a canoe, and a small garden that could sustain a family that was here to collect fish. So nets was a really, really important part of our tradition. We use them to catch fish, major fish with a herring, salmon. We fed our families, we smoked them and saved them for the winter. I think bringing it into the education setting and giving the students the ability to work with nets and do similar things that their ancestors did, you get into the same mindset as your ancestors and what they were looking at when they tie each knot, and they're thinking about what kind of fish they're going to catch with it, how they're going to use it. And they get this connection with the natural world that sometimes in today's society you lose a little bit because everything's already made for you. And it gives a really good connection, I believe, especially with the food that we want to gain from it and that we want to eat. Because the process, the steps that it took to get to the final product, which is fish meal, and it gives you that kind of that quality, that connection with your food and your life and your cultures. This time of year is when the herons start to run. And the heron are very, very important fish. They come up the streams from the ocean, and they're going up to spawn. And native people in this area, they would catch these fish with these nets, and they would use them for fertilizers. Right now, this is time for planting corn and stuff. And Three Sisters relied heavily on those fish, the herons, the buckies that we catch from the stream, we were using as fertilizer. They kept the garden right next to their home, so it was really, a connection with the garden and the food there. They would sing to the garden as they're going and weeding, and that's some of the things that we still do today. The reason for the Three Sisters is because of the relationship they have with each other. When you plant a legume and you plant the corn next to it, it actually fertilizes the corn. The legume actually needs something to wrap around to actually get to the sun, so that's where the corn comes into play. And the squash have big giant leaves. It actually shades the ground and actually keeps moisture in.
This year, a volunteer of the Tamaqua planted for us to begin some of the corn, white flint corn, blue flint corn, and popcorn, native indigenous popcorn. And so hopefully we'll have a very interesting crop. We've already added some beans on our bean poles that the kids did with one of the parents last year, but we're also going to grow it traditionally, as Cashin was mentioning, with the beans that will grow up the stalk. But you have to give the stalks a little time to grow, because we found that out the hard way about 6 years ago, that if you plant the beans sort of at the same time as you plant the corn, then the beans knock over the corn. We sort of stagger them now, learning things the hard way. And I'm sure there was some elder that could have told us that, but we didn't ask, so we didn't know.
Yeah. Well, one of the positive things here at Nuweetooun is that the children are allowed to learn, a lot of different things about their culture that necessarily they wouldn't learn in a public school system. Me personally, I didn't get to go into higher education until I started learning more from my parents and stuff, and they get to do this and work on wonderful projects like this in high school.